Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
On YouTube, Diggy546. I already had the footage clipped up for this film session. I never put it out, but Deonte Banks got drafted yesterday to the New York Giants, and I am excited. I would say on my 1 to 10 meter, I'm about an 8. And the reason I'm an 8 is because Jordan Addison went one pick before him, and anybody that's heard me talk about Jordan Addison or seen me on Twitter knows that that was my number one guy. I wanted to get at 25, but listen, Deonte Banks is a first round corner and a deep corner class. I had him ranked over most of these guys. I had Christian Gonzalez, Devon Witherspoon, and I'm saying this in order. I had Deonte Banks at number 3, and then Emmanuel Forbes. So things played out pretty much like how I thought it would, or mostly how I thought it would. For some reason, Deonte Banks fell all the way down to us. Emmanuel Forbes is a guy I thought would be at our pick. Joey Porter Jr. I wasn't that high on, and he fell out of the first round. But anyway, let's get straight to Deonte Banks. Now, he's at the top of your screen, and he is a physical man press corner. He can probably play in his own if you need him to, but he's a physical man press corner. 6'1", 200 pounds, 4.3 speed, 42-inch vertical, long, broad jump too. Just a super athlete. And this guy will not really let people run by him. He's got the speed to not let people just run by him. He can recover well. He has great ball skills. Listen, guys, he has, 2 interceptions in his career or 3 interceptions in his career? But if you watch him locate the ball in the air, that is definitely a talent of his. So that's something that's underrated about him. He plays a lot of press man. That means he has his back to the ball, so you're not going to get a ton of interceptions. But when the ball is in the air, he does a good job of being able to get one hand on it or figuring out where it's going to go. So here's Deonte Banks here, lined up against this Michigan wide receiver. And just watch, just great cornerback play. He's playing him straight up, no leg out in front of the other, just straight up. He's there ready to get his hands on him. Perfect technique. He kind of got a little jam on him. Not anything too crazy, but a little jam on him to throw him off his route. And that's all it took. Now he's on the sideline. And he's got enough speed there. Where's the quarterback going to go with the football? Where's he going to go with the football? So let's watch this one more time, just thinking about the mental part of it. Deonte Banks knows he's on the short side of the field. You see all of that field to work with on the other side. He knows that the sideline is his best friend. And if he can get this wide receiver to be on the sideline, there's nowhere for the ball to go. So real easy stuff right there. So here's the next play of Deonte Banks, and this is just more of the same. You being able to see his athleticism put on display. Again, playing straight up. As you can see, he kind of has the right foot back a little bit, so he's kind of cheating, but for the most part, his feet are kind of straight up, lined up. So right here, he's going to use that same arm, that same left arm. Doesn't get as good of a press, so he doesn't get to get this guy on the sideline. The receiver actually does a good job of using his hands and getting his hands in Deonte Banks' chest, or not even his chest, but using his hands to kind of shrug Deonte Banks' attempt at kind of knocking him off his route. So the receiver does a decent job there, but the athleticism is there, and there's nowhere you're going. There's nowhere that you're going there because he's just running the route for the wide receiver. He's basically stacking them. So you see Deonte Banks pointed out here at the bottom of the screen. This play, actually a penalty flag gets thrown, but I just wanted to show this play because at the end of the day, I think this is a good play on the ball. He got to the receiver a little bit early, but I do think this is a good play on the ball, and this can easily be corrected. So wide receiver is kind of just running a fade route here, sort of, outside of the red zone, and the quarterback is just going to throw a 50-50 ball, and this is what happens when you throw a 50-50 ball when a cornerback has a 42-plus inch vertical. So let's watch this here. He's just going to run that fade route, try to get the outside. And then what he's going to try to do is back shoulder him and try to use his body to shield Deonte Banks away. And if he's there a split second later, they're not throwing this flag. And one can argue that this isn't even a flag, but what got him is his arm kind of being wrapped around the guy's head. But if he gets there a little bit later, this is a good play on the ball. So you see the ref, he's going to throw the flag there, but just look at the athleticism right there. Look at the air time he gets right there defending that pass. So in this next play, it's sort of a flaw. Deonte Banks is in the slot here. He's your cornerback that is mostly in the slot. So I'm going to highlight him right here. Deonte Banks right here in the slot. So pretty much what you're seeing here is he doesn't get his hands on the wide receiver, which he's not supposed to right here. That he's lined up off of the line for a reason. But this isn't a position that I want to see him in. There's a lot of empty space here. You're in the slot. It is very tough to defend a crossing route here. And he's just not a 180-pound corner. He's not a 5'8", 185-pound corner. So he's very fluid. He can move his hips very well. But he's not a guy that you want playing this far off and in the slot. Recipe for disaster. So they just pretty much run across it right here, and he's beat the entire time. So you don't want to see this happening in the NFL. You don't want to see this happening. Hopefully he starts off on the outside, but he's just kind of late to react. So he's got the athleticism, but at the same time, kind of late to react. Didn't know what to do with all that extra space there, and you get this result. So on this play, Deonte Banks is all the way at the bottom of your screen. The receiver here is going to run a whip route, and he's beat on this whip route. He's beat, but he doesn't give up here. And again, he's in some off coverage right there, which you might want to analyze. Maybe he has some struggles with off coverage, and that comes with technique. That comes with experience. I'll get into more of that a little bit at the end of the video. But Deonte Banks is playing off again, and he's beat on this whip route, which, I mean, who's going to be able to defend this whip route unless you know that it's coming, unless you see the formation and you know that this is coming? Very difficult thing to defend. What Deonte Banks is trying to do is make sure he doesn't get caught up in this crowd. He does not want to end up running into 12, running into his teammate, or running into this guy. So he's trying to go over to make sure he doesn't get beat. So while he's trying to go over, this receiver is going to run a whip. And, I mean, that's just good play design. And he just doesn't know that it's coming. So he's beat on this whip. He's out a little bit out of position. And, I mean, he's beat. But at the same time, the quarterback is all the way on the other side of the field. So, listen, people don't like when I rewind and pause. But listen, I gotta break it down for you all. You also have to keep in mind that Deonte Banks, as he's looking at the quarterback here, the quarterback is looking to the right side of the field. And he's all the way on this side of the field. So you can afford to get beat on the whip route right there as long as it's not deep. So guess what the next thing he does? He starts to head deep. He starts to follow him deep. And you see 6 has a step on him. But Deonte Banks is able to stay with him, use that speed to catch up. And the ball is also a little bit underthrown. And he's able to, get his hand on the ball, make a play. So, I mean, this all happens because he didn't give up there. And it all happens because of the athleticism of being able to recover multiple times in the same place. Now, for the people who I talked to about Emmanuel Forbes, whether it was on stream, whether it was on Twitter, or you just heard anything about Emmanuel Forbes, people were like, he's 166 pounds, he's going to fold, he's too light. Well, guess what? Deonte Banks is 200 pounds, and he plays like a 200-pound man. He plays like a big corner. He is not scared to get in there and mix it up. And you see right here, he fills this hole up like a safety or a linebacker. Watch number 3 at the right side of your screen. Watch this play develop. Watch him meet the linebacker right in the hole there. Not the linebacker. Watch him meet the running back right in the hole there with no fear. Drop his shoulder. Make a nice tackle. So right here on this play, they are in cover 1, where you got one safety deep. Deonte Banks is at the bottom of your screen. And what's going on is he understands where his safety help is. He understands where that is, so he allows his receiver to kind of work his way to the middle of the field a little bit, or not towards the sideline, because he knows that's where his safety help is. So he's able to pin this receiver in between him and the safety, going down the sideline, and a nice release by the receiver. Nice release there. He's not able to get hands on him. And he kind of beats him off this press. But guess what? When you're athletic, when you have that 4-3 speed, Deonte Banks is right on his hip. Right on his hip, like that release never happened. So now he knows I have safety help in the middle of the field. And that's what you get. So I'm gonna take it back a little bit. As you see, he got his hands on the ball there, dropped it. Could have been a nice interception, but he knows that he has safety help there, and he's got him pinned. So he tracks the ball better than a wide receiver in this scenario. Has to look over his shoulder, and it's just tough. It's just a tough catch to make right there. And I think he had recorded one dropped interception. Maybe he has more, but this is definitely a dropped interception. So Deonte Banks again is at the bottom of your screen wearing number 3. He's got his eye on the quarterback, but he's also in man coverage, and he's playing off coverage. And what do we see in the NFL today? We see a bunch of posts. We see a bunch of crossers where guys are manipulating that deep coverage, and they are attacking the middle of the field, or they're attacking that second window after they cross the middle of the field. And Deonte Banks just runs with this guy. The dude looks pretty fast, but Deonte Banks is faster. So he's going to run this post, and Deonte Banks just gets into a nice back pedal and just runs with him and stacks him and does a good job there. There's a little contact right there, but no referee is going to throw that flag there. No referee is going to throw that flag. That's just hand fighting. And he just stacks him. So the last play I'm going to show you is Deonte Banks playing zone coverage. Actually, even though he's mostly been a man corner, he has that versatility. And for some reason, if Wink leaves and some defensive coordinator is more of a zone guy, you got a guy that can play both. So Deonte Banks is at the top of your screen, and he shows great awareness in this zone coverage and is almost able to come up with a huge play. So he's going to start dropping back, keeping his eyes on the quarterback, keeping his eyes on the receiver. The quarterback thinks he has an avenue there with this receiver in the slot, and Deonte Banks sees the trajectory that the quarterback is throwing it at, and he's able to accelerate at a ridiculous pace and almost turns this into an interception. So it's just like, I'm going to play this back in real time for you all so you can see just how quickly he covers this ground. And this is like, if this dude is in any kind of a zone and he's able to read and react, I mean, it's going to be dangerous for quarterbacks because he can close the distance really quickly. All right, so I'll pause it at this moment, and I wanted to just talk a little bit more about Deonte Banks. I think him coming to the Giants is perfect. Adoree Jackson, I'm not sure what his weight is, but he's a guy that was a super athletic cornerback coming out of school, and he's a guy that had to learn to be technically sound, and that's what Deonte Banks is going to have to do. As you saw that receiver a little bit earlier, beat him off the press pretty easily. He's going to have to work on the hand placement on a consistent basis. But he also had a game against Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is basically a professional wideout playing college football. And he held him to a pretty decent, pretty pedestrian game. Like, I think he only had like 3 catches against him for like, maybe 20 yards or something less than that. So Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have his way against Deonte Banks. And I think him coming to the Giants, where we have Jerome Henderson, who looks to be one of the best DB coaches in the league, and we have Adoree Jackson, who had to make a similar transition from being an uber athletic cornerback with a crazy vertical and fast 40 time to becoming just that straight up, get your hands on them in the right way, play the right technique, be technically sound. I mean, Adoree Jackson, watching his reps are like teach tape. And Deonte Banks, if he's anything like the things that I've read or heard about him, he's extremely coachable. And he's going to pick up some of these techniques very quickly. He's going to be very, very quick at learning these things. So I'm hoping that he's able to get here through all of training camp, through all of the rookie OTAs, through all of this stuff in the offseason, and really soak in a lot of this because he's got all the physical tools to be an all-pro corner in the NFL. So you guys let me know what you think of Deonte Banks. I didn't have, all of his best plays. I had the plays that I had film of, but you guys let me know what you think of the pick. I think he can be a really good player for us. do not let Eli Apple and DeAndre Baker cloud your judgment on how good this pick is. I think he's going to be a good player for us, and I think he has a very high ceiling. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.